Welcome to Elevate Your Ride, the podcast dedicated to elevating your performance in the saddle. I'm Ellie, your personal trainer.
And I'm Lauren, your mindset coach.
Today we have with us Maddy Bloom. Maddy is a client of mine and has been riding and showing horses for her whole life. She started in the Western all-around events and in the past 2 years has transitioned into the cowhorse industry where she shows her horse Saint. Maddy also recently graduated from Fresno State where she was an athlete on their equestrian team. And today we want to talk to Maddy about her experience being on the team and how she handled the mental and physical stress of riding for a top school. So, Maddy, what did it take to be successful showing at the collegiate level?
It takes a lot, both mentally and physically. The format of the collegiate is hard because, first of all, you take us girls that are used to competing in an individual sport and you put us on a team with each other where only 5 girls get to start in each discipline. And then the other aspect to it is when you go to different schools, it's only 4 minutes to ride the horse, learn them, and then you have to go show the pattern, which is super challenging. I know for myself personally, it was hard the first couple times to just go for it and have the confidence in being confident in a strange horse because most of the college horses are not what you would expect they are since they are all donated to the programs.
Yeah, so you never really know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
How I would assume that it was probably pretty challenging to hop on a horse you've never really ridden before and only get a few minutes before you have to go in and ride and show the best that you possibly can. How did you handle the mental pressure of doing that?
I just remembered that everybody is in the same boat, so it's kind of a level playing field of everybody only gets those few minutes. So to be able to remember that everybody's on the same level that way of like nobody gets like an extra amount of time to ride the horses and stuff like that. And I just had to remember to stay confident in my ability and that I'm on the team for a reason and that I am a good rider. And I just had to continue to remind myself that.
I love that you said that you deserve to be on the team and that you're there for a reason, because that's huge to be able to help get you through and for you to be able to tap into that mentality as you get on these horses and rely on the skills that you had from the beginning with regular riding and then putting it into the collegiate style. But was it a little bit stressful? Number one, when trying to make it onto the first string team, but then also once you did make the team, did you have that kind of extra stress of needing to maintain that highest level to stay in that spot? Or did you feel like once you had made it, "Okay, I'm here, and now I'm just gonna run with it"?
It's kinda different for me because I don't think I necessarily was on that first string team. I got to start, I think, 4 times during my whole time there. But, yeah, it's definitely hard. Like, I think that the mental game definitely comes into being on the first team. I have a lot of friends that start every meet, and I can definitely see that the ones that are able to be confident and be like, "I'm starting for a reason," and don't get in their heads definitely are more successful than when they second guess themselves and just be confident in their ability and go for it.
Do you feel like the confidence of saying, "I deserve to be here," translates over into other areas of your life? Did you feel that your academics were stronger, and then now going forward and getting your MBA, did you have more confidence from being on a collegiate team? And did being able to compete at that level make you feel more confident in those areas?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I didn't have the greatest confidence coming into school, going into the college writing and everything like that, but I definitely think that after being able to realize that, like, I was on a team for a reason, and maybe that reason necessarily wasn't being a first team string, maybe that reason was to be there and help and lift girls up when they were feeling down, definitely has helped outside of that as well. I'm able to be much more confident when it comes to getting internships during the summer, getting into grad school and different things like that, I'm able to be much more confident in myself personally.
That's awesome. Good for you. And you said that you helped build others up and get those girls kind of going and back in shape. What did you do specifically? And how did you feel like you contributed to get them through the tough parts of competition that they were going through?
I know that a lot of them would just come to me for a pep talk the day of, or like I have a lot of girls that would have Brad practices, like on the reining team specifically, and they'd always just ask for help and be like, was that okay? Or like, what am I doing wrong? And I felt like I was able to be there and just reassure them that they were doing a good job and that they were more than capable of riding the harder horses and that they were doing a good job.
That's a super important role that you played. So good for you for being able to do that. And even if you weren't the one riding in the arena, but being able to be there to support them, because man, showing horses is so mental. And so it's great that they were able to have somebody of your caliber to be there and cheer them on and support them in every other aspect of it. So good job.
Thank you. It was challenging, but I definitely feel like it made me a better person, and I feel like I did make my impact in that way.
That's great. And how has competing on the team affected competing with your own personal horse? Because that whole time you were competing on the team, I believe you kept showing and you still show now. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I did. I showed my personal horse also the entire time, and I think that it was a huge benefit for me. Like, yes, it was challenging at some points. Like, there was multiple times where I had to be like, "No, I can't go to that horse show, like, I have team commitments," but it was nice to be able to take things that I learned from my personal horse and take them to school, or take things that I learned at school about just being more confident and being like, "Well, if I can ride these ones at school, there's no reason why I can't ride my horse and show
Absolutely.
him." So it was nice to be able to cross over in both and use different things from each.
Hey, Elevate Your Ride fans. Are you loving our show and looking for a way to show your support? Check out our line of Elevate Your Ride merchandise. From stylish t shirts to cozy hoodies to journals and hats, we have everything you need to represent your favorite podcast. Ready to gear up? Click on the Buy Our Merchandise Here link in the podcast notes, or head on over to our website, elevateyourride.co, and click on the Store tab. Thank you for your support. Make sure to like, follow, and share our platform with your friends. It's awesome. And did you have to switch trainers when you moved down to Fresno State?
Yes, I did move trainers. I used to be with Brandon Stabler, who lives about 20 minutes from my house, and then I moved to Tracer Gilson, which is about 30 minutes from campus.
That's so nice that both at home and then down at Fresno State, you could be so close to your horse and your trainer and have that kind of reprieve when school was getting tough. I'm sure you really enjoyed having those opportunities.
Yes, it was very nice to just sometimes be able to walk into the barn and just be like, "I'm here. I need to take a deep breath. I'm just gonna go ride today."
Absolutely. So I used to be on the team, and part of what I absolutely loved was all the athletic stuff that they did. So tell us a little bit about what the workouts were like and how that was different from maybe what you used to do before. And then where did Ellie come into play and how did she change your fitness?
Yeah, so for Fresno State, the workouts are twice a week in the evenings, and we do a lot of heavy weights and a little bit of mobility stuff. We've had different trainers throughout the year, so it's been a little bit different every year I've been there, but the last 2 years of me being there, we've had his name was Coach Jason, and he was amazing. But we did a lot of weights and stuff like that, and I definitely felt like going into college, like, I didn't really work out outside of any of it. I did sports in high school, but that was kind of like my only workout regimen, and I definitely felt like I got stronger. My riding improved when I brought the other part of it, like the team workouts, and then when I started working out with Ellie, I felt my riding improved a lot. I was able just to do the simple things that sometimes were a little bit harder, like, as being not a horsemanship rider, I can speak from we don't do a lot of, like, no stirrups and strength stuff like that, so it was nice to be able to have Ellie's help with improving on those aspects for my riding.
Yeah, and then this is how Maddie and I got to know each other a little bit is I started working with Maddie's mom a little over a year ago, and then naturally Maddie just kinda started hopping in on the workouts, and eventually we just started working together on top of the team workouts, and Maddie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you mainly started working out with me because you needed to focus a little bit more on your mobility and your stability and not necessarily on strength. Like you've always been pretty strong, but you were lacking some of the key base components that you need to be a great rider, right? And so I feel like the biggest thing that I've been able to help Maddie with is building kind of those building blocks. And then once we were able to build those, we've been able to focus more on like more traditional type strength training lately. And I think that the trainer that you were working with at Fresno State did a great job of making you strong. But like what we kind of something that we talked about when you first started working with me is while he was a great trainer, he didn't necessarily have like the equestrian knowledge or the equestrian background. And I think I told you like one of our first sessions, I was like, I would not want his job. Like to train, how many girls were on the team? Like 30 girls, right?
30 to 5 to 40, yeah, there's a lot of us.
Yeah, so I remember being like, "Wow," like, I can't imagine being the athletic trainer for because he did, like, pretty much all the sports.
All of tennis, most of track and field, and all of basketball.
And that would be so hard
Mhm.
as a trainer to manage 1, all those different sports, and then 2, all those different people. You wouldn't be able to, as a coach, look at the individual. So that isn't to his fault, it's just the way that it's just the hand that he was given, right? He was given all these people to try and train. So I think he did a great job with what he had, but he wasn't able to look at you as an individual. And so I feel like that's where I've been able to help you the most is look at you as an individual and say, "Okay, what does Maddie need?" Right? So, what are some of the takeaways that you've gotten Maddie from like working out with kind of the more general strength training program versus like what you do with me?
Yeah, so I think it was harder for me because I have, like, ongoing knee pain that I had a lot with just the general, and we were never able to, like, truly get rid of it or find, like, the source of the cause, so when I started with Ellie, I told you that, and we talked about a lot, and we've really been working on that, and my knee pain has decreased, like, significantly through working out with you, and so it's been really nice to have, like, that one-on-one personal relationship to where I know, like, you know what my body feeling when I feel it also, so it's like we get to do really specific things for myself, and more in the general, when there's 35 of us in the weight room, it's hard because everybody's just getting shuffled around and we're just trying to get through the workout kind of thing.
Right. If everybody piped up and said, "Well, this is wrong and this is wrong and this hurts," then you'd
Yes,
never get
yes.
anything done.
Yeah. We would never get any yeah, it would not be productive.
So, how did the team workouts look differently from the workouts that I give you?
So, the team workouts are probably an hour long. They're at nighttime, and we do more circuits. We'll have, like, an A, B, and a C block, and there'll be 4 exercises in each one, and there'll be, like, step-ups and then different really heavy weighted exercises. So, like, we were just really getting strong. There was not no mobility in it and all that kinda stuff, like, the coaches had to say one time, like, "The girls can't be getting this strong, they're not fitting in their straps anymore." So he had to kinda tweak it that way, but it was a lot more of, like, how much weight can you lift, that kind of stuff, instead of being able to be mobile in that aspect and being stable in our movements.
Basically, he was having you do, like, traditional type strength training, focusing on just
100%,
just how
yeah,
much you can actually lift. So, how did
yeah.
you feel that specifically helped your riding? Like, how was that beneficial for you?
I think that was beneficial because, like, I knew how strong I could get, and I knew that I was a strong individual, if that kinda makes sense,
Mhm.
like, it proved to me that that mental aspect of I can do these hard things in the weight room definitely helped with my riding of, like, "No, I just lifted that much, yeah, last night in workouts, there's no reason why I can't do this hard thing today."
That's a really good point. And then how has now focusing on in my program, focusing on more like the mobility and the stability, how has that helped your riding?
That's helped my riding a lot. I've had different struggles in the past with, like, keeping my shoulders back and making sure that I keep my feet out when I'm stopping and not leaning to the left when I'm working in cow and that kind of things, and, since starting the mobility and stability stuff with you, I've seen a huge improvement, me and my trainer both have in my riding, of just being able to stay square in my saddle, stay square in my seat bones and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, it's all important, like, you need the mobility, the stability, and the strength, and so, like, when we first started working together and you were still on the team doing the team workouts, we mainly just focused on that, we didn't really do weight training, and then in, like, the
Mhm.
past couple months, we've really started focusing more on, like, lifting heavier weights, and,
Yes.
so that's been kind of fun because now that we have that base built with you, now you and I can start focusing more on the strength training,
Mhm.
and, it's a lot of fun. I don't think you like what we're doing a whole lot, but, it's
No, but it's working, so
but it's working. Yeah, that's a good point. Hi, everyone. It's your personal trainer, Ellie. If you're looking to become a stronger, more balanced, and flexible rider, I'm here to help. I offer virtual personal training sessions and customized workout plans that you can complete on your own. As a fellow competitor, I understand the physical demands riding requires, and my goal is to help you perform your best for your horse, whether you're preparing for a show or just want to improve your everyday rides. Visit lopeanddowntherailfitness.com or click on my website tab in the notes of this podcast episode to learn more. Let's work together to elevate your ride. So, Maddie, what advice would you have for a young equestrian that's aspiring to compete at the collegiate level? What advice would you have for them?
my advice is make sure that it's something that you want to do and make sure that you feel like you have the right mental mindset for it. It can be a lot, it can be challenging in so many different ways, and just make sure that, like, you're aware of all those pieces and that there is nothing wrong with not doing it in college, not being a college equestrian on a team and just keep showing your horse, and also just make sure that it's really something you want to do and make sure that you find somewhere that you fit in with the girls who are on the team, that you fit in with the girls that are coming onto the team, and make sure that you fit in with the coaching staff because it is 4 years of your life, which is a very long time. And if you get into a situation where maybe it's not going great, make sure that you look into that, and if you don't wanna be there anymore, there's no issue with that. Nobody's gonna fault you for that if it comes into a situation of you're not fitting in anymore and you're not happy.
Did you feel pressure to join an equestrian team rather than just ride your own personal horse?
No, not at all. I think that the pressure definitely is out there, because I feel like the next step in our sport, like, once you graduate high school, it's like, I know a lot of my friends on the equestrian team were kind of like, "Well, if I wanted to keep riding horses, it was through a team," and that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I also think that if you aren't the kind of person that is going to fit in that space and excel in that space, then it's not something that you should try to make yourself fit into that mold.
What's your favorite part about riding horses? Why do you do it?
I do it because they're kind of a break from reality for me. I'm able just to go and have a good time, and the better mood I am in, the better mood that my horse is in. So that's a huge help for, like, my mental space.
Isn't it so interesting how much of a correlation there is between how you're feeling and how your ride goes and how your horse feels? I think it's such a great mirror into yourself. So if things aren't going well, it's best to kind of just check in and say, "Oh, is there something going on with me?" before I get after my horse, right?
Yeah, 100%. I can see that a lot now with the cow horse that I have now. He can sometimes tattle on me and be like, I think you need to take a deep breath." But I'm thankful for that. I've had a lot of horses like that during my riding time, and they've really taught me how to kind of slow down and check in with myself and be like, "Well, what's actually going on?"
Definitely. So would you say he's a more sensitive horse? And if so, do you think you prefer the more sensitive horses now?
Yes, so he's definitely very funny, he can be sensitive in different ways. He's definitely not easy at all, but, once you, like, be like, "No, you can't act like that," he will give you the world, and he will be there for you. You just have to remind him that he has to, and I think that I definitely like the more sensitive horses like that. Like, there's this horse at, Fresno State, his name is Dyson, and he is extremely sensitive and gets offended very easily, and he was absolutely one of my favorite horses, during my whole collegiate career, and I really think that I get along more with those horses just because sometimes I'm able to be like, "Okay, both of us need to take a deep breath, let's go stand in the middle of the arena for a few minutes and just relax."
Absolutely. I started out with kind of just dull push button horses, and then I got Rooster, and he was super sensitive, extremely feeling, and you had to just always be there, be riding every single stride. And after that experience, I absolutely love it. It's taught me so much about me, and it's taught me so much about horses. And I love a horse that really feels you. And it's just such a cool experience. And I'm glad you got to feel that too.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you're able to have a stronger connection and a stronger partnership with a horse that's more feely?
I think yes and no. I think yes, because that relationship that you get to build with them is so huge that, like, you both can trust each other a lot. And I think that sometimes it can be challenging because when you hit those roadblocks or setbacks, it can be a lot to kind of work through, and you really have to stick with it to keep going.
That's a really good point right there when you said that you had to build a relationship with that horse. Whereas kind of with a less sensitive horse, I feel like they're kind of your friend instantly, which is super fun. But with a sensitive horse, you're right, you have to build it and you constantly have to foster that relationship. So maybe it's slightly more fragile, but it is so rewarding.
But Lauren, just from I mean, I haven't spent much time with Pal, but it seems like you really are enjoying riding Pal, your little ranch rider. He doesn't seem like a super sensitive, feely horse, right? He seems more of like the horse that's kind of your friend, happy go lucky, not very sensitive.
Yes, so Pal is interesting. He's deaf, which is a part of him being a gunnerbred horse, so you'll appreciate that one, Maddie. But he's so funny. He's sensitive in that way because he can't hear. So if you move quickly or you get after him quickly, he thinks, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know where that was coming from." So you have to be really cognizant of letting him know that you're there and where you're coming from, but you're totally right. He's so happy-go-lucky, very chill, will do anything, very in your pocket, and I'm totally loving that part. But he does have that little bit of sensitive side, and I think it just comes from the deafness. So maybe that contributes to his personality, but I just absolutely love how sweet and kind he is, with just that nice little touch of sensitivity. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So your last couple horses were probably more sensitive, more feely. And so is it kind of nice to now have one where is a little bit more happy go lucky and a little less sensitive? Or are you now starting to crave that horse that's a little bit more sensitive like Rooster was?
That's a great question. So there's certain days when you have a lot going on at work and a lot going outside the arena where you just really can appreciate that kind of duller horse because you don't have the energy to come at the sensitive one with everything that they deserve for you to bring into the arena for them. So I can appreciate that as a big thing for him. So yeah, it would be nice if I could get him a little bit lighter and more excited about things when I'm trying to maybe do a higher level maneuver, but overall, for just general enjoyment, I am having so much fun with him, especially this phase and this stage. And I think that's why he'll be a really good horse for hopefully my mom or a kid one day, because then they can just enjoy him and not have to worry quite so much about it, about him being a Ferrari when they'd really just like to drive a little Cadillac around for the day.
Maddie, which type of horse do you prefer?
I think kind of in the middle. It's definitely nice sometimes just to get on and, like, not have to worry about what's going on, but there really is days where it's kind of nice to be able to work through the touchy-feely, more reactive. So I would probably say that I'm definitely in the middle between a reactive one and one that just kind of there.
What do you think, Ellie?
I think I'm kind of like Maddie. I like something in the middle because I think what you said, Lauren, about having that horse that can do that higher maneuver, be more quick off your feet or
Mhm.
quick off your hand. I feel like the horses that are more sensitive and more in tune with you are definitely, it's going to be easier for them mentally to be able to go and do like the higher level pattern type stuff. Um, but then you can't a lot of times those horses can't turn that off. So, like you said,
Mhm.
Maddie, like, there's some days where you just wanna
Yeah.
go and you just wanna ride your horse, and that's not always the easiest thing to do with a horse that's sensitive, you know what I mean? They're gonna be picking up on your emotions, and if you aren't paying attention exactly to, like, where you're putting your hand or how much pressure you're putting on your leg, like, if you're not 100%, they're still probably gonna be 100% and be kind of confused why you're not at 100%. So, I think it just depends on what kind of horse you want to ride. Do you want a horse that is more happy-go-lucky and they just go wherever the wind takes them, or do you want more of a partner that's gonna be there 100% whether or not you want them to? So, I don't know. I don't know which I prefer. I don't know, maybe you need to have both. Maybe
Yeah.
you need multiple horses.
Yeah, for sure, because I think it just depends on what season of your life you're in. If you're wanting to do the young stuff and bring on that sensitive, feely type of horse, because they're going to step it up for you. But if you need some steady eddy, like you're going to appreciate that so much more in a calm horse when you can have that. I have a little mistake here and there, and they're going to have your back and have so much grace for you. Are you looking for that extra competitive edge, struggling with show pin anxiety, or looking to set and achieve meaningful goals with your horse? Schedule a session with me, Lauren, your dedicated mindset coach. As an experienced competitor, I understand the mental demands required to excel at the highest level, and I'm here to support you in building a plan to help you stay accountable and reaching those goals. For more information, check out laurencervelli.com or click on the website link in our show notes. Let's work together to elevate your ride. Let's talk about the fact that you run down a fence almost full speed, knowing that there's a barrier at the end, and you just don't even look at it. You just watch that cow, turn it back, and do it again. Tell me about the mindset that is required to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, I think that I'm very, very blessed that I've been put on incredibly safe horses and that, like, I've never been put in, like, those scary situations. Everybody around me has been made sure that, like, I don't ever feel unsafe in that way. I actually love it. I can tell you this, that every time I come out of the arena, I can't breathe because my adrenaline is going so fast. I usually come out shaking, but it's seriously so fun to me. There is a huge mental game though. I do know that if I don't have a good ride at home going into a show, I can sometimes carry that with me, but my trainer just makes sure to remind me that me and my horse are more than capable. We've done it so many times that there's no reason why we can't go do it again successfully.
When you say you have a bad ride, what exactly would happen? And then what kind of fear would that lead to for you going forward with your ride?
I can be very hard on myself at home, like, if it doesn't go, like, the right way or if me personally, like, I pull up in the wrong spot or I send my horse by the cow too far, in certain situations like that, I can be very hard on myself of, like, "Shoot, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, why can't I just do it?" So it's sometimes I have to like, slow down and be like, "Okay, let's go back to the basics. This is where I need to be with my horse," and that kind of thing, and that's just something I have to remember.
Is it difficult in practice because whether you or your horse might run out of air or the cow might run out of try? Is it difficult to get the reps in to really understand what you need to do in the class? Or do you feel that you can take it all in pretty quick?
Some days yes, and some days no. It's kind of hard to say, like, 100% a certain answer because there's some days that I'm really good and some days that my horse is just not having it. So, yeah, there's definitely some days where it's like I work one cow for 5 minutes and me and my trainer are both like, "Okay, everybody, we're done. Get off, go home."
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's other days where it's like, "No, we gotta go again," or, "Okay, let's go work the flag," and, like, "The cows have run out of air, let's go work the flag," or, "He needs to go more," some things like that. Like, it can definitely be, a hard thing to balance.
And how do you feel when you're walking into a class? Do you get nervous for the rain work portion at all? It seems like from watching that class that the adrenaline would kick in for down the fence. But do you get nervous in the rain portion?
Yeah, the rein work is also scary. I feel like sometimes my horse can be kind of hard. I've only had him for about a year, and he definitely won't just give it to you. Like, you have to ride every stride. And so I definitely do get nervous sometimes because I have to be like the best rider I can be in that moment.
How do you feel that you set yourself up for success when you're about to go into the class? Do you have different music that you listen to, different breathing exercises, things that you tell yourself? What's it look like?
So my biggest fear is I'm gonna forget my pattern. I can do that sometimes. So I kind of look like the crazy person in the warm up arena. Like, I'll be loping around and I will be visualizing my pattern, like, and I'll map it out with my finger and repeat it a bunch of times and say, like, fast circle, small circle, and then like my turns and stuff like that. And I just make sure that to keep my mind slow, I keep repeating the pattern to myself. That way I don't start to think about like the other what ifs.
Absolutely, that makes total sense.
What's been the biggest challenge going from showing, like, traditionally the all around to now in the past couple years showing more of the cow horse?
The first challenge I had was just being able to, like, go fast and feel confident in just running because it is so different. Like, I had a couple all-around horses that, like, we did not run or we were gonna get ran away with kind of thing. So it was, like, being confident in being able to put my hand down and let my cow horses run was a huge challenge, and then I mean, it's just it's so different. Had to learn how to, like, roll my pelvis underneath when I'm stopping and, like, let my body, like, sink into my saddle, which is, like, such a big no-no for the horsemanship and everything like that, that I really had to reteach myself some of the different aspects of that.
What's been the hardest part mentally?
I think the hardest part mentally is that every time you go to work a cow, it's always different. No cow is ever the same, so, like, it's really hard to be able to mentally prepare for that.
Yeah, you kinda have to, like, fly by the seat of your pants a little bit, right?
Yeah, yeah, you totally do. I have to be very confident that me and my horse, whenever I nod and that cow comes out, like, we'll be able to do it together, because if we're not together, it's not good. And so it's definitely mentally hard because, I mean, for the horsemanship, I could tell you exactly how my pattern was gonna go, whether I was in the arena or out of the arena. And for the cow horse, I can't tell you that at all because I have no idea what cow is gonna come
I feel
out the
like
gate.
some people find, like, some comfort in that, knowing, like, "Well, whatever happens, I'll just deal with it," and some people are more type A, and they're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh," like, "but there's not an exact pattern, there's not an exact plan," and,
Yeah.
like, I know that
Yeah.
I would really struggle with that of, like, "Oh, but, like, I can't have a plan." I okay, I'm sure that you still have a plan, but like you said, it's different from, like yeah, it's
Plan
different from,
though.
like, the
Yeah.
horsemanship or the showmanship where you have,
Mhm.
like, an exact pattern and you know, like, okay, like, sometimes my horse gets a little sticky in this haunch turn or in this lead change. You
Right,
have no idea
exactly.
what's gonna happen when the cow comes out.
Right, yeah.
So how do you prepare for that mentally?
Practice at home so that, like, I know any different kind of situations. The last probably 6 months, my trainer and I have really worked on myself becoming just brave and just knowing that, like, I can step up there with my horse and I can put my hand down and squeeze my feet and, like, step up there and really work the cow and not let the cow work me and my horse, because my horse is really nice and he loves the cow part. Like, you'll watch him and his ears will go forward the second the cow comes out, and that's his favorite part. So, like, I've really been practicing on being brave and, like, when I need to step up and go, like, I'm able to do that, and that has really helped my confidence to be able to do that.
What made you make the transition between the all around and into the cow horse? And how did you even get introduced to that?
So, Brandon Stabler was our neighbor, and he, in the wintertime, would sometime come and ride because he doesn't have an indoor, and we do here at home. And I always was like, "I wanna ride one, dad, I wanna ride one." And so one day in the spring, Brandon was like, "Do you wanna come ride one? Like, come on over, like, you're more than welcome to." And I finally did, and I just had so much fun, and I was like, "I think I really would like to do this, and I'd really enjoy this." So I talked to Brandon and talked to my parents and stuff, and we decided that we were going to go ahead and lease a cow horse. His name was Dino, and he was this cute little fat bay, and he was a grumpy old man, and he just taught me so much. And the more that I would do it, the more that I really loved it. For a while, I was showing both the all around and the cow horse. So that was also kind of a challenge because I had to really remember like which horse I was on and which I was doing. I kind of finally was just like at a point where I was like, I really think I need to pick one or the other. And I just kept really, really enjoying the cow horse stuff. So that's what I decided on.
What do you think the biggest similarity between riding all around horses and riding cow horses is? And then what do you think the biggest difference is?
So I would say the biggest similarity to me is that they're both very technical in their own ways, if that makes sense. Like they're both have kind of similar ways you have to do it. Like my cow horse, I ride in Ramels, and my all rounder, obviously, I rode split reins, but it was still kind of the same point and shoot, kind of, I guess you would say. And then the biggest difference is how you use your feet. All my all-arounders were squeeze your legs, they slow down, like, they're all right off your feet and legs, and the cow horses are kind of the same, but not really. It's more of your body language and your hand more than your feet.
Which way of riding was easier to teach yourself?
I think it was easier for myself to teach myself how to ride the cow horses, just because I grew up just riding before I started showing. I grew up riding horses up in the mountains, and it was kind of like just easy, kind of get on and go kind of thing. And so I think it was easier to learn how to like when I sit down, they stop. When I yeah, and take my feet out, whoa, and that kind of stuff. It was easier to do all that stuff than the all around of make sure your feet are here, your hand is here, and, that kinda stuff.
And then your mom does the jumping a little bit too. So, do you ever go and ride her jumper?
Absolutely not. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of terrified when they're big. I definitely am not a fan of them, but I have before, I just not my thing.
So, what makes you scared about them being big? I am also scared of big horses. I'm just curious, like, why are you scared of the big horses?
Like, on the ground, I have no problem with them, but, I had an accident when I was younger, and I just have not really been able to ever, like, get through that kind of. Like, I'm fine riding the cow horses, and I'm fine with the all-arounders and all that kinda stuff, but these big, giant 18 hand horses with 4-foot long necks, I just can't do it.
Tell us about your accident.
I don't remember how old I was, but it was a while ago. I think I was probably 11. I was riding one of my mom's old jumpers, and he was a little bit tired, and so he lost his feet. We were just trotting around, and he somersaulted, and so I
Mm.
road rashed my whole face. I'm not sure how I didn't get more hurt, but just kinda something that stuck with me for a while. Like, I was like, "I don't need to ride ever again," but I did get back into it, and I'm glad that I did, but just something that is definitely still lingering in the back of my brain sometimes.
Yeah, that's so scary.
Yeah.
How did you get over the fear of getting back on again?
My mom did a really good job of making sure that that door always stayed open, and she didn't force it on me, and she wasn't like, "You have to get back on right now." She just always was like, anytime we'd be riding or we'd go anywhere, she'd be like, "Do you wanna get on for just a few minutes? Like, you'll be okay," and, she just really made sure that that door always stayed open, and then, I finally was like, "You know what? Like, I need to do this again." Just for myself, horses are a huge benefit for me, like, I can definitely tell, like, when I'm away from them for a long time, I can see, like, things change in myself, and I think it just finally got to the point where I was like, "You know, I think I need to do this again," and I finally just kind of did it, and I would definitely was glad that I did.
Thank you for listening to Elevate Your Ride. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, all linked in the podcast notes. We'll see you next time. The information provided by Elevate Your Ride is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical or professional advice. While we discuss health and fitness topics related to equestrians, the content provided through this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. The views expressed by the host and guests on Elevate Your Ride are their own and should not be taken as professional guidance. We strive to provide accurate and up to date information, but we cannot guarantee that the information will be applicable to every individual listener or that it reflects the most current research or guidelines. Before making any changes to your health and fitness routine, we strongly recommend consulting with a qualified professional who can provide personalized advice based on your individual needs and circumstances. Elevate Your Ride and its creators will not be liable for any direct, indirect, consequential, special, exemplary, or other damages arising from the use of information on this podcast. Thank you for listening to Elevate Your Ride. We are committed to providing high quality content and appreciate your trust in us as a source of information for your health and fitness journey.